Hello and welcome to English 121 at Lansing Community College. My name is Rick Cook. I am a LCC professor in my 25th year of teaching college writing. At this point in my career, this is a choice. I do this because I really enjoy it. I also have worked with high school students most of that 25-year career, and I actually find teaching high school students in the High School Advantage program is more engaging than the average community college class because if you're taking this as a high schooler, you're an advanced student, and I enjoy interacting with people who are engaged in their education. So there's two goals in this welcome video. Number one, is this the right class with the right professor at the right time in your life? This is not the only section of 121 that you can take. I know that Ovid has arranged this for your high school, but it's still a choice, and I want to make sure you're making a good choice. So I want to make sure you have all the information to make that decision here early on at LCC. I also want to make sure you know how to use D2L and Google Classroom and the weekly sheet. Those are things that are critical for your success in this class, and I want you to see how we are going to use them and make sure right away that that makes sense to you. Okay, so is this the right class? This class is designed to offer you transferable skills. That means by the end of the class, can you do college level writing without me, without feedback from me? So that means, is your content insightful? Is your organization clear? Is your style concise? And your mechanics correct? Those four categories are actually the four categories on our rubric, and we will be talking about writing in those four ways. There are other ways to talk about writing, but that makes a lot of sense to me. What are you writing about? How are you organizing it? What is the nature of your sentences? And are they grammatically correct or not? All of that needs to happen at a college level to pass the class. And that's the spirit in which the curriculum is designed. So this is a class that's primarily about writing, and it's about real writing. As someone who taught high school for 15 years and then was a high school principal, I could tell you that a whole bunch of high school is not real. And I can particularly tell you that you don't have to really write to pass and even be a valedictorian in high school. Much of high school writing is trying to look like you read what you were supposed to have read, or you understand what you're supposed to have understand. Much of it is regurgitation. A lot of it can be done with AI. Real writing can't be done like most of high school writing is done. And by the end of the class, I think you'll really understand that. First, the writing in 121 is real because its purpose is real. The purpose of real writing is to expose insights about a topic. And that's at the heart of all writing. Writing is only done in real settings when a writer has something meaningful to share with the audience. Writing isn't done because you're faking having read To Kill a Mockingbird. It's done because you know something the reader doesn't, and you want the reader to know it the way you know it. You want the reader to feel, know, and believe what you feel, know, and believe about a topic. The writing in this class is also real because it's an extended revision process. You're not being graded on what you wrote the night before. You're being graded on how strong you can make your projects by the end of the class. And the expectation is you will work on them that long. And that expectation exists because with real writing, you can't be successful in one night. This is also real because it has extremely high standards. And just to be honest, most Americans cannot write at this level. You're choosing to go to college. This might be your first college class, or maybe you've taken several college classes at this point. 37% of Americans have a 4-year degree. You're taking this class because it serves as first year composition for an associate's or bachelor's degree. So you're taking this because you want to pursue your education. And the truth is most Americans cannot write at this level. So we're not talking about high school writing. We're talking about college writing. The class does presume you can do some things, that you can write in complete sentences and you can follow basic grammar rules, that you can read for information in the study models, that you can organize a basic essay, and you can use technology to complete these tasks. If you can't do those things, I direct you towards resources, but it presumes that you can do that. You've taken some placements tests to get into this class, and it presumes you can do that. Or do we use your PSAT or SAT scores to do it? So I want to be really honest with you because I want to make sure this is the right class with the right guy. Most students can't already write at the college level. And what that means is if you submitted your best work right now, it wouldn't pass. If it could, if you already could write at the college level, why would you be taking this class? That doesn't make any sense. Knowing that you can't most likely do what you already need to do, I want you to think about what your grade will be like early on in the class and what it will be like at the end of the class if you do what you're supposed to do. Students have this tendency coming out of high school that they're going to have A's in a class from the beginning. That's not how this class works. Your grade reflects your writing level. And most people's writing level at the beginning of the class is not passing yet. Almost all students end up passing my class. I taught 3 121 sections at Fowler, Portland, and Pewamo, Westphalia in the fall, and every student but one passed. And the one that didn't pass because she just quit coming to school. That wasn't on me. So almost all students pass, but they need to become real college students. Let's make sure I'm the right guy for you. I do not look at myself as a teacher. In fact, it's kind of a mistake to think about college professors as teachers. I don't need a single education class to teach English 121. Not one. I don't have to take any classes about being a teacher. I have to be an expert in my content. When you go to class in college, let's say you're going to a chemistry class, the teacher is a chemist, has a master's degree in chemistry, not teaching like your high school chemistry teacher. That applies for all the contents: history, mathematics, writing. So I'm a writer, and I essentially am donating my time to help other less experienced writers that want to learn. I really don't believe that college is for everyone, and that's like really inappropriate to say now, but I don't mean it in a derogatory way. I mean, roofing isn't for everyone, plumbing isn't for everyone, art isn't for everyone, cross country isn't for everyone, football is not for everyone. Everyone has the ability to develop skills, but we don't all choose to do so. So college is about choosing to develop skills, and the skill you're choosing to develop by taking this class is the skill of writing. As a writer, I know that writing is never done. It is just due. That's something I really fundamentally believe about writing. You're never going to be done writing. You're just going to have to turn it in. And we're going to approach writing like that because writing is a process. It's really messy. A lot of times you have to throw out entire drafts, which usually can't happen at the high school level. You need to have tons of a conversation, which is hard in a virtual class, but still really critical. So I make a big part of the work in the class is actually interacting with each other. Feedback is really critical, but importantly, I won't give you too much feedback. I am not going to mark everything that needs to be changed or fixed in a draft. I'm a co-author if I do that. I'll tell you, hey, here's a comma splice. I've marked one of them. There's probably 10 others. You better go check. The class will reflect what you can do at the end of it without me. And that's a big any one of you, if we worked intensely, we could get your writing to the college level, but you need to be able to do it by yourself. And the class is designed to do that. Essay 1 and Essay 2, lots of feedback. Essay 3, much less feedback. And it's the same assignment every time. Essay 1, Essay 2, and Essay 3 are the same. Real writing can't be rushed. I know this as a writer. I know that if I try to write something the night before, it will be poor. I know things need to ruminate. I know I need to put it in the drawer and get some distance from a while. I need to come back to it with fresh eyes. The word revision actually means to re-see. Something else you need to know about me, I'm not interested in prison writing. When I taught high school and I was assigned, English 10 or English 11, and students had to take my class, they were prisoners. They were forced to be there. There was a bell that rang when they had to be there, and there was a bell that rang when they got to leave. And I'm not interested in that anymore. I'm not interested in prison writing. I often tell students, if you're doing this, if what you're writing is just to meet the assignment, it's going to be terrible. A famous quote by Robert Frost: "No tears in the writer, no tears in the reader." So no tears in the writer, no tears in the reader. And what he meant is what you felt as you wrote is what the reader will feel as the reader reads. And a lot of times when I'm reading essays that students have written, students that don't want to be in the class, that don't want to write, that's what it feels like. I'm reading the writing of someone who is a prisoner, and I'm just not interested in it. This is college, and if you don't want to learn how to write, you shouldn't be in the class. My effort really matches yours. For a kid who's willing to do anything, willing to work endlessly, is really putting in the time and the effort, I match that. And for students who don't put in time and effort, I don't spend any time or effort on them. That's the difference between college and high school. In high school, your high school teachers are responsible for the outcomes of all students. That is not the case at the college level. You are electing to learn from me. And if you elect not to learn, that doesn't cost me anything. So the keys to success, making sure this is the right time. Do you have enough time? It's a 4-hour class. College guidance is that for every hour of class, you should reserve 2 to 3 outside of class. So that would be 8 to 12 for you mathematics majors. I actually think that's too much. I don't think my class takes 8 to 12 outside of class. I think it's more like 6 to 8. But that's still 10 to 12 hours of class a week. And most of that time will be spent writing, reading, thinking, talking, writing. I have many assignments early on and very few assignments later because you're dedicating your time to real writing, which is incredibly time intensive. You should be thinking about the class every day. Real writing takes tons of thinking. You should ask me questions. I give out my cell phone, so you can text me, you can email me. I prefer you don't contact me through D2L. I have to click like 57 buttons to respond to you in D2L, and it's a pain. But I give you my cell phone number, so you can text if you'd like, or call. I know teenagers don't call ever, but if you'd like to text, or I give you my Gmail, LCC Gmail account, so you can email me directly instead of going through D2L. You should cultivate relationships with your peers and make sure you have the time for that. Honest feedback takes a lot of time, and you're giving people time so that they will spend time on your work. It's very transactional. Be willing to throw out bad ideas. That means you got to take the time. And I already said this point, don't treat essays like an assignment. If you're doing this just for a grade, that's what it will feel like when I read it. You should be writing because you want me to really know something. And you actually get to pick your own topics in this class. So you get to pick your loves or your passions or your interests or your hates, whatever you feel like you know really well. Okay, I want to make sure you know how to use D2L in Google Classroom. So I know you know how to use D2L already because that's how you got to this. So if we go to our D2L page, I always use the announcements to kind of give you little reminders. I don't post reminders of every assignment, and when every assignment's due, you got to stay on top of that. But I will put notes in here occasionally. This note is just introductory, and it reviews a lot of the stuff in this video. Class materials. Underneath class materials, you can find the syllabus, our weekly sheet, and a welcome letter. It has a lot of the same material that's in this video. The weekly sheet is really valuable for you. This is where all your assignments are. So I like using a Google Doc for a wide variety of reasons, but this does mean you don't have to go through D2L. This is shared with your LCC Google account. So you can go directly to this. You can bookmark this and bookmark it to your Google Chrome page. The links take you to things to read, things to watch, or Google Forms. So all your assignments are here, and they're hyperlinked. You'll notice that like the week 1 response is hyperlinked, but week 2 is not yet. We do this class together. There is a pace to it. There's a connection between what you're reading and what we're doing in the discussion boards. So here's the weekly sheet, tells you what to do. It's numbered, so you can literally check it off. D2L is also the home of our discussion boards. So besides class materials, our discussions are all on D2L. Okay, so here's the first one. By 119, you're going to want to do these things in response to this. And you can always find the discussions here under content. So that's how I got to this, as under content. You can also find it by clicking on communication and going to discussions, and you can find them there as well. Okay, so there's 2 places to find things. D2L is for announcements, grades, content, and discussion boards. Okay, so that's what you'll find there. Google Classroom is where you'll turn in work to me. So throughout your writing projects, you'll be interacting with each other. You'll be submitting stuff on the discussion boards that other people can see and give you feedback on. When it comes time to the end of a project, you will turn it into me. And this is clear on the weekly sheet. So for instance, your first assignment is to post 3 to 5 expository questions in D2L by 119. So you go to D2L and look in the discussion boards, post an outline, that'll be on the discussion boards, submit a draft in D2L, that'll be on the discussion boards, but then submit a final draft in Google Classroom as a Google Doc. Okay, so when you go to give me your work, I'd like it as a Google Doc in Google Classroom. And the reason for that is I regularly utilize all of the tools in Google Classroom that don't exist in other programs or formats, certainly not in D2L. So here you can find the big assignments, Essay 1, Essay 2, Essay 3, and the final reflection letter. You'll turn them in here. And this is going just to me. Okay, so this assignment, Essay 1, final draft. I'm sure you're familiar with Google Classroom. I'm sure Ovid uses it. Most high schoolers are really familiar with it. You make sure you submit it as a Google draft, and the due date, February 9th, that's always 11:59 at night. When something is due, please make sure you're submitting stuff on time. The Google code is found in D2L. It tells you how to access it. So here's the code. Make sure you're using your LCC credentials, okay? So when you are in Google, make sure right here it's your LCC account. See, I have many accounts. I have a personal account. I have my Ingham ISD account. So make sure you are in your LCC account, which is the same username and password as D2L. You have a Google account through LCC that you're going to have to use. So let's talk about the class structure a little bit. And all this can be found on this course syllabus. So the class is made up of readings and videos. The readings are mostly models of expository writing. So we're going to do one type of writing here. It's called expository writing. And almost all of the reading is about, or excuse me, is an example of expository writing. There are chapters about writing, and there's a textbook that Ovid should be supplying to you. Those readings aren't until later in the semester in case they haven't gotten the book to you yet. Most of the class is taught through videos, and the videos are my mini lectures talking to you about where you're at this point in the writing process. Okay? I give quizzes over the readings and the videos. It helps you know what you're supposed to have learned from the video. The quiz actually teaches you. You can look at the quiz before you do the reading or as you're doing the reading or as you're watching the video. The discussion boards is where you interact with each other. So remember, this is in D2L. I expect you to be present, honest, respectful, and engaged on the discussion boards. At all steps in the writing process, we ask for feedback. Sometimes you're responding to the whole class. Sometimes you're responding just to a peer. So please make sure you do that. Let's talk about grades. I don't accept any late work. This is college. Getting in the game. Essay 1 is worth 10%. It's got to be a minimum of 900 words, should be around 1,000, could be up to 1,500. That's fine. And there's no sources. For Essay 1, you don't include any sources. The entire first week is built around telling you how to do Essay 1, and then there's examples of it. All these videos and readings are all about what to do in Essay 1. Okay? So that's what the whole first 3 weeks, actually 4 weeks of instruction is about. Essay 2 is the same exact assignment, except now you're going to include one source. So during the writing of Essay 2, you're going to learn about research, what that means at the college level, what are your research tools, how to incorporate research, and how to properly cite it. Essay 3 is just like Essay 1 and Essay 2, except you got to have 3 sources. Now, Essay 1 and Essay 2, each one are only worth 10%. That's not very much. I will give you tons of feedback on those essays. You will turn in final drafts to me. I'll give you a ton of feedback, and I'll say, this is what the grade is. Essay 1 and Essay 2 are the same assignment as Essay 3, except Essay 3 has more sources. But Essay 3 is worth 40%. With Essay 3, I only give you feedback on your outline. And the purpose is with the final essay, this is really about what you've learned from Essay 1 and Essay 2 about expository writing and the skill of writing, and then demonstrating it with Essay 3. Now, I believe in evidence-based grading. Evidence-based grading. It's also called evidence-based reporting. And what evidence-based grading is it means your grade should reflect what you can do at the end of the class, not what you couldn't do at the beginning. I'm going to tell you right now, most of you are going to get a 60 to 75% on Essay 1. And I don't think that should hurt you, your overall grade, if, let's say in Essay 3, you get an 85%. You get up to a B, which is a 3.5 at LCC, which is a really good grade. I think your grade should reflect where you're at the end. So the grade on Essay 3 can replace the grade of Essay 1 and Essay 2. And that happens for most students because most students do improve. So you get a 7 on Essay 1, you get a 7.5 on Essay 2, you get an 8.5 on Essay 3. I go back and make all those grades 85%. that you get a B on them. Because I really believe your grade should reflect what you can do at the end of the class, not what you couldn't do at the beginning. Your weekly work, which is roughly 2% per week for a total of 30%. This is all or nothing. It's very obvious if you do the work or not. If you don't do the work, you don't get the points. It's really straightforward. It's really simple. None of the high school BS, just straightforward. The last assignment, there's a reflection. It's about 1,000 words. It's due the last day of class. It's 10%. There's instructions and examples about how to do that. And we'll talk about it towards the end of the class. It's a reflection. It's you writing a letter about what you learned about yourself as a writer and what you learned about writing. It's not an essay, it's a letter. So you have to write about 4,000 words over 4 products to pass the class. All steps of the writing process must be done for any points in a particular essay. Okay? So what that means is you have to have the expository questions, the outline, the draft, and this really eliminates AI. Now, the real reason AI is eliminated is because AI works really well for high school writing, right? If you wanted to say, you know, what are the describe a theme in To Kill a Mockingbird. You put that prompt in and AI would regurgitate something. Expository writing is you telling me what I don't know about a topic. Okay, what I don't know about a topic. One of the first pieces you're going to read is written by a college student who had a job selling manure over the summer. And what she wrote about was the effects of selling manure that people don't realize. AI can't do that. AI, you can't plug that into AI and have it produce something that demonstrates what that writer feels, knows, and believes. Okay, so I can't accept final drafts that haven't been seen before. I will not accept drafts that haven't gone through the process, where I see your expository questions, where I see your outline, where I see your draft, and then where I see the final. I'm not going to read all this keys to success. You can read through this. Office hours, 8 to 10 a.m., 7 to 8 p.m. online. That's in Google Classroom. And so Google Classroom, right on the stream, there's a join button. But let me know you're planning on meeting. I just don't sit online waiting for people to show up. Please send me a text or an email so I know ahead of time. Oh, I started reading the wrong thing, didn't I? I was still in the syllabus. Office hours, 8 to 10 a.m., 7 a.m. Oh, contact. Okay, so here's my cell phone number. I prefer text, but of course you can call. There's my Google, my Gmail address. Okay, if you email me through D2L, that's fine. It's just going to take me a while to respond. That's the better email to use, cookr23@mail.lcc.edu. We do have 3 ORT sessions. Now, these are this weird thing where we all meet together live online. I've been doing it for, I don't know, we've had ORTs at least since the pandemic. It's a strange teaching method. It's trying to emulate some aspects of face-to-face, but you're just sitting on a computer listening to me talk. It's certainly not the most engaging way to interact with people. But I do have important things we do during the sessions. And those are the dates. And we start at 3:30 and they'll go no later than 5:30, but they often will end earlier than that. I really use them as more of kind of like a check-in, and then do have an opportunity for you to interact with individuals, emulating how you will interact on the discussion boards. So that's how we handle ORTs. So I hope this video helped introduce some aspects of the class that are the fundamental parts of it. Please refer to me as Rick. You can also, if you're uncomfortable with a first name, I do respond to Professor or Professor Cook. Please do not call me Mr. Cook. That takes me back to my 10 years as a high school principal. I enjoyed that time, but I'm a professor now, and that's who I am, and that's what I'm leaning into. So Mr. Cook was a guy that wore a tie and busted kids for smoking pot in the parking lots, and that's a long ways away from helping you be the best writer you could be, and that's my job now. So welcome to the class. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. You or your school is paying for that communication. And if you don't reach out, I certainly don't solicit information from you. So please take advantage of that and lean into what it means to be a college student. Best of luck.